I guess we can lead right into our first panelist, which will be Krishna Maurice. Give it up, please, for Krishna Maurice.
Thank you very much for having me here. This is truly an honor for me. And I'd like to thank you all for your presence, for your attention, for your points of view. I am Krishna Maurice. I'm a holistic cleanser. I was based in the East Village of Manhattan for most of my life, but I've now moved to Arizona. I'd not like to get into why that is, but I'll just say that Bloomberg is a menace to the people of New York. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's lost its character is all. I'm here to talk to you today about a more natural approach to your health. I think in society today I see too many people taking medications and powders and serums, and they're not the right ones. We have more natural ones. And I'd like to talk about what some of those options are. Sometimes it's what you do, not so much what you take. What you think, not so much what you inject. So, if the brain in the jar would indulge me, I'd like to...
Other way. There you go.
Excuse me. This is Healing with the Soul. I'm hoping to option this into a book once I can create a narrative of it of sorts. It will be narrative. It wouldn't be non. It would be It would be fiction.
It's a story.
It would be story based.
Okay. Are there going to be pictures?
There would maybe be drawings, maybe symbols.
Okay.
I would say symbols more than pictures.
Get behind that. Sure. Yeah.
But for now, Healing with the Soul. Could we have the next slide, please? So the first thing we need to learn is the mind. It's evil, it wants to hurt you, it's a liar, and it's wrong. The mind is a product of the negative forces that have infiltrated our world. There's nothing wrong with them. They're perfect and natural too, and we're glad they're here. But it's important that you learn to separate the mind, which again is evil, it's bad, from the greater inner you. And we'll get into that a bit more later. I do feel a little awkward. I did not realize the host of this show was simply a brain.
I'm sorry. I tried to cover myself up with the slides so you wouldn't.
I think this might be able to help you because we can get into some of the...
Yeah.
I mean, you must be having problems. You're just strictly mind.
I mean,
No,
I consider myself pretty healthy, but
Do you ever get worried about stressful things?
yeah, I get stressed out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not with my program. You wouldn't be.
Oh,
'Cause you'd be free of your mind.
great.
Can we hit the next slide, please? So there's the mind and then there's the body. Now the body, that's the opposite of the mind. They're the two that are working in tandem to create that beautiful and unique you that we all know. It's secretly, in some ways, the mind. It's a thing that's a little secret, but it's sort of the mind of its own, beyond the greater mind.
I'm sorry, so the mind is the body and the body is the mind?
Is the body
I wouldn't
bad?
say the mind is the body.
So
I
the
don't know.
body is the mind.
So the body's evil too then?
It's not-
No,
Okay.
no. The body's the good and the mind is the evil.
Okay.
The mind is not necessarily the body, but the body is, in fact, the mind. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I'm sure it'll
great.
tie up together.
I agree.
Still fuzzy.
There's a
Continue.
Q&A at the end.
Exactly.
It's true. So it's the all-knowing force of truth that makes you smarter and it makes the universe solve your problems. If you just sort of embrace and trust in your mind, it will sort of just have your problems solve themselves. For instance, when I was evicted out of my East Village co-op of sorts, it just so happened that an aunt of mine died 1 month later, and I was able to move into her home in Arizona. That stuff, that's the universe taking care of you. Next slide, please. So the trick with the body is getting in touch with the body. That's the most important thing in learning to be free of your evil mind. And the best way to do that, I mean, there's many different ways to do it, but I think the one we're going to talk about today is art. I have some...
Oh, wow.
I have some art tools. And if I had a patient come in to my church, and they do often, the first thing I would have them do for my diagnosis is I would have them paint. And after about their fourth painting, I would ask them, do you have any associations from this painting to maybe a traumatic event of your childhood? And if they do, that's how I'll begin working on the medication, which would usually be a different set of paintings they'll have to do. But let me give a diagnosis painting.
Okay.
So this is very simple. You don't need to be registered in any place to do this, which is the benefit of this kind of medicine, because they can be real sticklers about what you can and can't give out to the common people around this great country of ours. So you get a little of this. Maybe you get a little of this.
Now, when you're saying a little of this, what are you talking about?
It's paint. It's paint.
Okay.
You pick the colors that talk to you. If it's early on, they might not be talking to you yet. Eventually, they will start to talk to you. Just whatever draws your attention, and then you just give it a this, and you just paint your truth. That's the important part, because the diagnosis can't work if you're not painting your truth. And your truth, of course, that's what's different than the mind. The mind doesn't really have truths. So it's done.
Already?
Yes.
Oh.
That's what it told me it's done.
Okay.
Should
we see it?
Yeah, absolutely. If we want to just take a look at it. Can you see that? Thank you. My gosh.
Wow.
And I feel great now. I feel cleansed in a way, and if I was a doctor, I would identify that I have diverticulitis from looking at this, which is true. I do have that. So that is how art can help us connect to our body. Can we get the next slide, please? So the question is, how do we find that soul? How do we find that thing inside of us? Embracing the unknown that's with all of us. So we can follow our bliss. That's a very clear pattern. It's just do things you like, and then it'll be good. And I think that's really good. And then there's also herbs that make your brain tighter. And I have over here. These are herbs that my church will give out. They are not for sale. You can only earn these. You cannot buy them. As you can see, the label has been scratched off. Let me see if you can get a good look there. What we'll do is we'll print the label for our knowledge to have that kind of information about what's in our mix of herbs, but then we make sure you don't know because a placebo effect could kick in. Thank you. Next slide, I believe. Yes. So yes, now we're talking about opening that path. Now that we've identified it, now that we've found our soul, how do we bridge that connection? How do we cleanse our illnesses? And I think, again, there's many different ways to do that, but I think the best one, again, is art. And so now I can give you one of those sort of later paintings I was talking about. This is one you do when you know you have your diverticulitis or whatever it is, and you just want to, paint it out of you, in a way, which I'm still in the process of. But what you'll do for this is, again, you just get some of these guys here. Whichever one talks to you, listen to them, don't listen to them, they'll find you. Some of that. And then you're just going to paint it out. And when you're painting here, you're not thinking about anything, you're not using your mind, you're just listening to your body. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful because it's created and it's the universe. And what's beautiful about the universe is it still creates through us, if you think about it. That's a big part of the book, actually. Thank you. Thank you, my gosh. Alright, so this one's done as well. If we want to just take a look at this. Now, I feel so good right now. I wish I could really explain the clarity I just felt. My colon was throbbing this morning, if I'm being honest, and now I barely even notice it. Wow, look at that. Kind of looks like a cherub. Do you see that? Do you see the cherub?
I guess.
If I squint really hard.
Yeah, maybe give me a couple more minutes with it, yeah.
Okay.
Could I see that compared to your previous painting?
If you'd like, yes.
Wow.
Those are some good-looking paintings.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see here, this is when I know what's happening. This
Sure.
one's more of a self-discovery. I'm figuring it out.
It's like a before and after.
It's a before and after of the soul. It's a
Wow.
before and after of the soul. So we can next slide this. So solving the Christ child. So we're all awful people. We're all murderers, serial killers. We strangle cats. When we were
That's
young, we
specific.
liked to burn things with magnifying glasses. That's all of us, and that's in all of us. We all have that urge, and we'd all murder if we could. But that's okay, because that's normal and that's fine. And when you can learn that, this is actually the slide after. There we go. So now you see what I'm talking about. So you can learn to be true with your, and then you can be free. If we can go previous one slide. Oh, gosh, thank you. So if we're talking about preventative, we're talking about solving the Christ child. And that is a matter of positive reinforcement, positive thinking. Is your diverticulitis a bad thing, or do you actually like it? Do you actually like that it's in you and you think it's a powerful part of you that makes you who you are? Suddenly it's not an illness, it's a personality. So if we could...
Hell yeah.
You okay?
Sorry, that was emotional for me.
I understand. No, this is
That
very
came
personal.
from
You
a
got
really
this.
deep part of my
Of
You
course.
can do it.
And
Push through.
I was just amazed. Okay, if we could go to not the slide about us wanting to be serial killers, the one that will follow that.
Why were you nodding along when you said we all kill cats?
Yeah, we
So-
all do that.
These practices, they're ancient, and they're written for a time that we no longer live in. I mean, we have these God creatures in our pocket. That's something our church actually talks a lot about the God creatures we call iPhones. They can do everything if you think about it. In a way, they're gods, and we bow to them in certain ways, don't we?
Hell yeah.
Thank you. So I want to just demonstrate things you can do to keep up with times. And the best one I can recommend.
Would you like a water?
We can go get
This is the.
You have your drink left over.
Fight through
here.
it.
No, I know why this happens, and it's good that it happens.
Is this your
It's actu-
diverticulitis?
It's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen, and I like when it happens.
You're fine.
It's your personality now, right?
Exactly.
You
Okay.
just call someone?
No. So we're gonna exercise. I'm just gonna do some basic exercises. It's good to think about what Greek god you would be if you could while you're doing these push-ups. That helps you summon a greater truth. So I'm just
Oh wow. Now, what Greek god are you right now?
Dionysus?
Dionysus.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Which one is he again?
Is it a woman?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Okay.
You're trembling.
That was pretty good.
You're hunched over. This. You don't look healthy.
You got water right here, man. I'm just saying.
That's not water, but I will take it.
Is it vodka?
No, this is a Bolivian mixture.
What's Bolivian about it?
It's from Bolivia. That's
Oh.
what's Bolivian.
Okay. It checks
I
out.
like that didn't answer a lot of the questions.
Oh,
Oh,
actually,
it answered my question.
I'm gonna pop a couple herbs on the way out here. Okay, if we could get in closing. Okay, so
Oh.
it's okay. It's good. You want it?
What was that you just took?
It's my herbs,
Right.
but I don't know what's in them.
Okay.
I'm
got
not
it.
allowed to know. So take this information and thrust into the world. We're gonna take these lessons and steer your lives right into the sun. Gosh, listen to your mind and your soul. Wait, don't listen to your mind. Listen to your soul. Listen to your body. Listen to your libido, etc. And just be confident that you have information that people don't, because you're infinitely knowledgeable, and you can take that and know that there's something you know.
Oh, he's done. Okay.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
It was enlightening.
Yeah, fascinating stuff, truly.
Oh.
I'm gonna take my art.